Well, here we are. It is Friday, September 8th, 2023. Labor Day has gone by. I hope everybody had a great long weekend. We did. We had cookout, lots of friends over, had a great time, and here we are. Lots going on this week. We did a video the other day. Some of you have seen it, I think, for the upcoming Christie's Fine Chinese Ceramics and Works of Art sale. Some nice things. I went through and picked out some of the items that I particularly liked, and there's more to come. We're going to do a couple of more videos. There's a couple of collections coming up at Christie's. There's some things at Sotheby's. I have to say though that overall it's a little bit thin. From what I've been seeing, there's some good things, of course, there always are, but in general, I don't see the too many. We covered the Marchant things, which are very, very good, and we covered the things that were in the fine Chinese works of art. And there's another sale coming up that's got some good sungwares in it. But overall, I don't see any major powerhouse items beyond a few that we've sort of already discussed. So we'll see. I'm gonna take a deeper dive into it and see what else I can spot. But that's I think where it is for now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the economy and the Chinese economy is having some bumps, as we all know, and hopefully they'll come out of it just fine. And here we are. All right. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, as I had mentioned a few months ago, that during the summer it gets very quiet on the internet. Live Auctioneers was quiet. The global pages were kind of quiet. And as always happens in September, all of these auction houses come back to life, and there's a bunch of sales that are going to be added to the global pages. We added some the other day, and since just yesterday, a bunch of sales have come online that are coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll be putting them in there. And I'm going to go over a few of them just to let you know. And those of you who don't use the global pages, these are the kind of things that we do focus on. This is coming up at Bronx. Is this really nice armorial porcelain ewer, the arms of the Lee family, Greek key border. It's 16 inches tall. This is a big ewer. It's a very, very unusual piece for that size. Normally these are, 8 or 10 inches. This one is a beast, and it looks like it's in quite good shape. The enameling looks very, very good on it. The gilding is nicely still intact at the bottom. All the little things you want to look for quality, especially wear and, of course, breaks and damage and so forth. And this has a very modest estimate, $800 to $1,200. Was made around 1760, and this is coming up at Bronx in about a week. I guess a week from tomorrow. All right. And then this is also at Bronx. This is a really unusual punch bowl, or bowl rather. It's 15 inches in diameter, and it's a Chinese hunt bowl, but it's a very unusual pattern. Late 18th century with the dogs and so forth, but not a lot of fill in the background. In this case, they left the background fairly blank. And just have the English horseman on it, and there's rather nice yellow that they use, and some nice Ver enamels. And there's the interior of it, there's the bottom of it, and this is a detail shot. But if you're interested in export bowls and hunt bowls and so forth, this is a rare one. Truly is. It's not something you see very often. I've seen a few of them. I think the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem has one of these. It's only estimated $1,000 to $2,000. I suspect it'll bring $3,500 or so. But if it goes for under that, it's a heck of a good buy. This is a rare bird. And get a condition report and make sure it hasn't been restored or repaired in any way. It doesn't look like it has. It looks very good. I don't see any telltale signs of restoration. And this is a really nice punch bowl. Very, very interesting bowl. And then on here, this is coming up at RB Fine Arts down in Tavares, Florida. They have a sale coming up in 3 weeks. It'll be on the global pages. And most of the Chinese stuff they have appear to be copies. They're not good examples at all. But they somehow managed to get this. This is it's actually they photographed it sideways. This is the top of the plate. This is the top. It's inscribed. It's an Arabic market export ware plate from the first half of the 19th century. It looks awfully nice, awfully interesting, and it's done in a swirl pattern that you most often see on Japanese porcelains, which makes it sort of interesting, I think. And it looks like it's in very, very nice condition. It's filthy, rotten, dirty on the back. It looks like I see some kiln grit stuck there. But this is and it says the Al Sultana family. in Arabic, apparently, is the inscription. Very rare and unusual piece of export ware. And it's estimated at 1 to 2,000. I think it'll probably get there. It's 8.5 inches in diameter. Good looking piece of porcelain. And then this is coming up at Freeman's. They have an Americana sale, which is a nice looking sale, actually. And they have some very good Chinese decorative stuff thrown in. But this is a heck of a lot. If you're a dealer and you like to buy lots, you want to look into this. They all are 18th century cups and so forth, but you have a couple of very desirable patterns in there. In particular, the lotus pattern that's here on two cups, a bowl, a plate, and another big bowl, and an 18th century export bowl over here. And and another lotus bowl down there. I just noticed it. And this is a nice lot, and has a very modest estimate of $1 to $2,000. If you can get it for anywhere in that range, there's money to be made in it if you buy it. If you're a dealer, you could break this lot up and probably double your money if you can get it for 1 to 2,000. I think it's a pretty good looking group of things. All right, now over here they also have this Maidstone armorial pair of octagonal plates. A very nice looking duo here. The one on the left has a little more wear to the gilding than the one on the right, but a desirable armorial plate, 18th century, about 9 inches in diameter, I believe. 8.5 inches in diameter, estimated at just $400 to $600. Get a condition report. Make sure they're not repaired. I'm not sure why the estimate is so low. It may just be they're just going to sell it, no matter what. And that's, as we've talked about many times, when auction houses put, very low estimates, like we saw in the Grogan sale, it's basically their way of saying none of the stuff's reserved. We're here to sell it. That's it. And that's the kind of auction you want to go to. It's no fun going to auctions where you're fighting the hopeful anticipation of a greedy consigner. It's much better to just, auction houses will tell you, just let it go. Don't throw big estimates. Don't scare off the buyers. All right, because high estimates, to anybody with any experience, know that it generally means high reserves. And in this case, very modest estimate, nice looking porcelain. And then the Famille Rose 18th. Now they dated these as 19th century. They don't look 19th century to me. These look 18th century. They don't have a picture of the back, but boy, those I've never seen, unless they're Chai Ching or something. But those look like Chun-Lung dishes with pheasants and Famille Rose enamels. Ask for a back shot of that. Ask them to provide a back picture of it if you're interested in them. The estimate's very reasonable, $250 to $350 for them. They're both 9 inches in diameter, and they look to be in good condition. So you have those to chase around. And then these are coming up at Hindman's. Hindman's has some pretty good looking things coming up also in their sale. And this pair, two textiles, I thought looked awfully nice. And I thought the estimates were pretty reasonable, $2,000 to $3,000, because they're nice looking. I like the one on the left in particular. I love the ground color here and the way the objects are floating. It almost looks like a seat cover. How big are these? 56 by 20 inches. They're pretty good size. That's pretty good size panels. And a starting bid of $1,000, absolutely worth it. And $2,000 to $3,000 estimate, and that seems about right. They have some things in their sale that I have some doubts about, so I'm going to go through it tomorrow and add the pieces that I'm pretty comfortable with to the global pages. And if it's not on the global pages, it means I had some doubts. All right, because as we all know, auction houses these days, and Hindman's isn't excluded from that. They will sprinkle in things that are questionable sometimes just because they have them on consignment from somebody and they got to get rid of them. All right, and then this hexagonal Kangxi period vase. Now we've all seen this vase before. This style of vase is a very popular one. It's a fairly common one, and most of them are typically in the 9 to 12 inch range or maybe 13 inches. This is a much bigger one. This is a nice big vase or jar rather. It is 20 inches tall. 20 inches. That's big for one of those. And it's estimated at just $2,000 to $4,000, which I think is very reasonable. If it hasn't been damaged or anything, I don't see anything mentioned about condition. Check the condition on this. You have plenty of time to do it. The sale isn't for another 18 days, so they'll be able to get a condition report back to you quickly. But this looks like a pretty good Kangxi vase with its original lid. And like I said, it's only estimated 2 to 4 thousand, which I think is very reasonable. That's a nice looking piece of porcelain and a big piece of porcelain. And they also have these. These are late Qing to early Republic period, but a very delicately painted pair of cups with shaped rims. They have chin lung marks on the bottom. They're not chin lung, of course, but awfully nice looking. And they have, I think, sort of conservatively dated these. They're just saying early 20th century. They could be late Qing as well. They could be late Qing as well. There's the mark on the bottom, but nice looking pair of cups. Really, really nice. And estimated 1 to 2 thousand, which I think is perfectly reasonable. And then over to this, the piece of jade. There's some jade in the sale. Curiously, there's a big jade moon flask in the sale that it's got pretty good provenance. It was supposedly bought at Gump's or something, but they didn't date it. And I looked at it, and it's got the Buddhist sort of a wheel decoration on it, and the carving on it is good, but it didn't knock me out. It's a good looking object, but it's got a very big estimate, and they didn't put a date on it. And I would if you're interested in it, I would ask them why, because they estimated it at about $50,000 to $80,000, but no date, and the carving doesn't quite look up to snuff to me. This, however, looks like an awfully nice jade carving. They've just dated it as Qing, which it clearly is. I suspect it's probably 18th century. It's nicely done. The deer chewing on the lingbai, and here it is. The back of it's beautifully polished, nice carving. The ears are well done, and the stone is that nice, soft, greenish celadon jade that's so popular, and it's on this very attractive stand on top of it. It measures 4 inches in length. It was bought from Graham and Sons, and came out of a San Francisco estate. And Heinemann is I found them to be in general very straight up when it comes to mentioning provenance or collections or things like that. I've never had the feeling that they make them up. So if you want to get more background information on the piece, you might want to get a hold of them. I think the estimate is very low, $2 to $3,000. It looks like a $5 to $7,000 jade to me, but it may just be that it's unreserved and they're going to sell it no matter what. But it certainly has a very reasonable starting bid of just $1,000. It's a nice piece of jade. I think the color is very, very, very good, and the polish on it looks nice. The carving looks fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. I find this one very attractive. And they also have this, a very nice, interesting Tianlu form incense burner of a food line. A nice one, probably later Ming. They said Ming or earlier. I think probably just the 16th century Ming, but a nice example. It probably was one of a pair originally. They often did them that way, but it's a good-looking patina on it. It's been bumped around a little bit, but overall, it's a fairly rare type. They made a lot of copies of these in the 1920s. They turn up periodically here and there, but they don't have this warm cocoa brown patina to them. They don't have this look. They don't have that feel. There's old bronzes. They almost have like a gummy. The surface almost looks gummy after a while. It's like a coating. It's like a almost like a varnish, just from age. And this is a pretty nice looking bronze, and I think the estimate's very, very reasonable, $3 to $4,000. It's 7 inches in height, I guess, and $1,500 opening bid. And then over here they've got a underglazed blue and red Kangxi vase. This is a fairly nice one, nice celadon glaze. Does have a sag in the glaze right here, which will hold the price back a little bit. But overall, it's a nice example, and the estimate is in line with that little glaze flaw on the front of 3 to 5,000 instead of 8 to 12,000. And moseying along over here, there's a very nice Wanli crack dish. It's not a huge one, but it's very finely painted. If you like really nicely painted crackwares, this is a pretty good one with the incense burner full of precious objects in the center, and then of course the very standard radiating lotus leaf panels going out with flowers and fans and scrolls and whatnot in it. It's estimated at 2 to 3,000. That's a little heavy, I think, but $1,000 is okay. If you could pick it up for about under 1,500, I think it's a good buy. I think 2 to 3,000 for a plate this size. This is not a huge one. It's 12 inches in diameter. It's a little bit small for that high of an estimate of 2 to 3,000. But 12 to 1,500 is probably okay, I think. All right, and then over here on eBay, a few more things turned up. I actually last week, after I said I didn't think there were that many things, and when I went back and checked the list, I didn't realize we'd accumulated a lot more items than we thought. Many of them have not closed yet. Many of them, as you know, are still up there. So go back and check them out. But some of the things have closed, and there's a few things that have been added. I want to talk about some. Stick around for the newsletter page items that are coming up. There's a couple of pieces that are pretty nice. Um, and then you have this European scene export dish that had a chip out of it, but rare pattern, nicely painted, nice looking faces on the European women and men and so forth. And it would probably need a little bit of repair around some of those, as a couple of chips. But overall, this was a nice looking plate, and it did well. It brought $1,023, and this is part of this sort of trend we're starting to see. Again, we saw it with the Grogan sale. We saw it with the Cohen and Cohen sale a couple of years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, that Bonhams did. That there seems to be some support coming in now for a recognition, at least, of very, very fine export wares. They seem to be gaining some traction, because I think the realization is coming around that people are saying some of these export pieces are as good as imperial pieces when it comes to decoration goes, which is true. They had some phenomenal decorators that produced export wares. They were paid premium prices to do them, and they really put good work into them. And here you have this very nice plate, went for $1,023. And then over here, this is let's see, this this hasn't closed yet. This is coming up. I wanted to mention this is Migulari has this. It closes on Sunday, but it's a very nice rose mandarin punch bowl, and it's only up to $142, and it's a good sized bowl. It measures what is it? 12 inches in diameter. It's not a small 7-inch or 8-inch bowl, but it's a nice rose mandarin bowl made around 1840, and it should bring $400 to $600 or $500 to $700. And then this sold for nothing on the 5th. It was a nice piece of late 18th or early 19th century Japanese amari with that little strap porcelain handle on the top. I don't think the seller did himself any favors. He should have cleaned it up a little bit. This thing was filthy dirty. And if you have porcelain and you're doing photographs of them, and you want it to look its best, you want the colors to show through. Give it a nice cleaning with some dish soap and hot water, and get it looking good. Because you can see there's lots of dirt along the edge of this, and I think it held the price down. This thing just went for $62. That was an absolute bargain. That was a good buy if you're an Amari buyer. Hope one of you got it. And then this sold for $6.86. And many of you recognize it. It's a well-known type of 18th century export wares, sort of heavily orange peeled. And we put it in the newsletter. We were debating whether to put it in or not because it was damaged. But it's a rare. It's a good type. It's a good type to own, even as a study piece. And if you don't have $400 to $600 to spend on a perfect one, this was something that anybody could afford to buy. And you could clean up the break on it. The break is down. It's fairly noticeable down here. But this could be cleaned up considerably. Whoever did the repair on this really did a lousy job. But this could be cleaned up and made to be quite presentable. And then you end up with a nice looking example of a desirable type of 18th century export, where most of these were sent to the English market. And it was 12 inches wide, so it was 13 inches. So it was pretty good size. You can see by the wine bottle. Nice looking thing. And then there was the guglet that had lost a little bit of its height at the top, as you can see, ended up selling for $283. But as I mentioned last week, the decoration on it was very appealing, and the crisscross decoration, the pattern at the top, and so forth. But it looks like it lost about an inch off the top. Ended up selling for $283. So it's a nice example. It was made during the 18th century, of course. And over to this, the Kangxi Amari decorated melon formed teapot had a repaired lid, but then somebody after the repair, someplace along the line, added this nice metalwork onto it, which made it very attractive. I thought this was a really, really pretty thing. And the lid could be repaired. You could send that lid out and get that fixed. That's mostly just fill, and it's going to clean up that filthy, rotten looking crack. But you could, without too much ado, you could get that squared away, I think, to at least make it less noticeable. But it was a nice form with late 19th century metal mounts to it. There's the bottom of it. Good looking little pot. And somebody picked it up for just $133. There you are. All right. And then the silks. There were a couple of good silks in here. There was this one. I'm not quite sure why he photographed it that way. Uh, there we go. There's the entire thing. There it is. And but it's on this warm cocoa brown decoration with this rather attractive dragon, probably made during the second half. Was woven during the second half of the 19th century. Very, very nice. Oh, speaking of silks, I noticed one of you commented the other day that that book on rank badges that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago that was on in the book section over on Amazon. I had gotten. I thought it's a great book. I've been enjoying it. It's really nice, beautiful photography, lots of explanations. They were $60 or so a couple of weeks ago, and somebody commented that I guess some of you folks have been buying them because the price now is up to $130 or $140 for that book on Amazon. So we might have driven the price up a little about that. So if you didn't get it, sit back and wait a month or two, and maybe the prices will settle back down a little bit. But I think they have an algorithm that changes the prices or recommends higher prices when demand increases. I'm sorry about that if it happened to one of you and you ended up paying the higher price. And then the gold thread ground with the dragon on it, sort of a Ming looking dragon. It's not a Ming silk, but the dragon is done more in the Ming style than in the Qing style, I think. And these floating clouds and so forth. Nice looking little panel, and ended up selling for $773. They dated it as Qinlong. I think that's probably right, but the dragon is not a Qinlong style dragon, as you know. They tend to be, like the winged one we had in the video coming up at the Christie sale. They were much more very animated, very strong and powerful looking. And the earlier ones tended to look a bit more like this, a bit more sinuous. And so forth. So there you are. Other things that are coming along. There's this nice looking lotus boy bowl, Kangxi period. This popped up. It's got a good inscription on the bottom. You can read down below. It'll tell you what the inscription says. Nice looking bowl. Beautifully rounded, beautifully potted. Nice shape to it. This is this will be on the newsletter page this week. Good looking piece of porcelain, very attractive. It's just went up last night. Literally, it's got a couple of bids. It's up to $1.25. It should get up to 1,000 to 1,500. It's a nice looking piece of porcelain. And then over to this. There's that bowl again. I double inserted it. Sorry about that. Is this nice looking 1780s roughly export Famille Rose with underglazed blue. Very vibrant yellow in this. I think this is something Migolari has up. Closes in a couple of days, but there's these beautiful yellow trims around the veranda, and then on the bottom of the garden barrel really punctuates it. And then this nice strong red flower, and these two very pretty ladies standing on the terrace within the balustrade. Nice looking dish. It's only up to $355. It closes Sunday. Should go up another 100, 150 before it's done. But if you collect these, this is a good one. That's a nice looking one. And then this is really interesting. Very unusual color palette on this plate. Underglazed blue with soft underglazed red, overglazed, that looks like underglazed red in the center. And then you have these nice pinks and this very, very pretty, soft, sort of like a light lime green inner border. The color combinations on here, I just think are absolutely striking. Very, very tastefully done. And the plate looks to be in quite good condition, and it's only up to $46. This is one of those things where if people can't find another one, some people won't bid on this because they can't find the comp for it. This is a nice looking plate. And he just labeled it as Migolari just called it Daotsai. I'm not sure it's really Daotsai. It's really more Famille Rose, but the center here with the pair of geese is very attractive, and then the ascending bird above it. It is, how big is this plate? About 9 inches in diameter, no restorations. It says it has 2 hairlines to the rim as small nicks. I couldn't see them, so they must be very, 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 very soft. But this plate should bring $175 to $250. It's a nice looking porcelain. And then over to this is this is also coming up. This is also on Migolari's. is this reticulated 17th century bowl. This was a technique, of course, that was devised during the Ming Dynasty and was carried forward. And these double-walled bowl. Here's the interior of it, nicely done. But beautifully reticulated. The cutting on this, the cut work on this looked quite good. It had a couple of hairlines in it, but it's a desirable type. There's the bottom of it. It's got some gunk on there from old labels and stickers and whatnot. But the cobalt color is quite appealing on this, I think. I think it's a nice looking bowl. And it is just up to $65 right now. It's nothing. It should get up to 400 to 600 also by the time it's over. But if you've been looking for one of these, you might want to check this one out. It's a good looking one. All right. And if you haven't used the newsletter, I haven't mentioned it in a while, but if you go over to the bitamount.com site and from the homepage, click the newsletter page, and you want to get notified when the newsletter page is updated each week. We send out a notice as soon as we finish the page and get this video up. You can sign up for it right here, and you will automatically get notified, because some weeks I'm earlier than others. Some weeks I get it up. Today I'm going to be a little bit later because I had some appointments during the day. But normally the videos and the newsletter page gets updated sometime between maybe as early as 3 in the afternoon and sometimes as late as 7 or 7:30 at night. And we send out a note just to let people know. Okay, that's all the housekeeping there is. And those of you that have joined us on Patreon, thank you. And I noticed a number of you have been watching the videos over there, because we upload every video we do. We're uploading them now to Patreon. And for the subscribers who've joined over there, it's $5 a month. And you get to see the videos without any ads. I really don't have anything else to offer, I guess. I haven't gotten into selling baseball hats or anything. I wouldn't know what to put on one. And but at any rate, those are quite a number of you have joined up on Patreon, and it's helping out, because we just put the money back into the site. All the money that comes in goes into the site, goes into paying for software and servers and whatnot. So thank you for that. And the same for the global member pages. That also helps support the site very much, and you're all very, very appreciated. So there you are. And if you can do, and if you can't, you can't. That's fine too. We're all having fun together. All right. So that's all I have to say. Have a great weekend. And as I said, I hope everybody had a wonderful Labor Day weekend with your families or doing something. And we'll be back next week. I'm going to work on we got some videos coming up that we'll be putting out for the sales down in New York, and we'll dig out what we see on there that looks good to us and share it with you and give you our thoughts. And then we can go back afterwards and autopsy it and see how it worked, and were we at all accurate, or I think in general we're pretty accurate about how things do, but you never know. So it's a new game every week and every month. So here we are. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment. Comments are always fun. I always read the comments. I don't always comment back, but I read all the comments, and I love to hear what you folks are interested in, and your thoughts and information, because a lot of you have shared some very good information with me. So thank you. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back next week. Okay. Bye-bye.